Ukraine is in war now, and there's lots of Jews there. So we have to daven that they should all stay safe. And yes, I'm glad that you had the Shemitah lady by you. And the only way to observe Shemitah is to come here and to eat our Shvius fruits. So yeah, we have now, I don't know, I have to go to my banana lady. The only Shvius that we've had so far is bananas. That means there's when food grows during Shemitah on its own without having been planted, that has a special holiness to it. That's called Shvius or Oser Bezdin. There's all different ways of saying it. Anyway, come to Israel. The borders are open March 1st. That's like soon because it's like, right, next week or something. Come, no more tests, no more shots, no more anything. I mean, tests maybe, but no shots and no. Let's hope. Listen, remember how badly you felt when it was closed? Now who knows what's going on in Europe with Ukraine and Russia? It's really interesting. It's just interesting to see what's going to happen, just to see what's going to happen. I have no love for Ukrainians personally, and I have no love for Russians personally. So that might be the most politically incorrect thing to say. I don't want them to fight and to kill, but it's interesting when two nations who haven't been traditionally very friendly to Jews are fighting with each other. It's hard to know what the hashkafa is. Like, what should we be thinking? One thing we have to be thinking about is that whichever Jews are there and show us to stay, they told them to leave, but not everybody can leave. A lot of Jews live in Uman, a lot of Russian Balei Tshuva live in the Ukraine, I don't know what you call them, if they're Ukrainian, Russian, but whatever it is, there's a lot of Balei Tshuva in the Ukraine, a lot. And so they have to stay safe.
I'm just going to add quickly, sorry, Rebbetzen Silber, but somebody had messaged me just before and to say that they sent a message out from Mezerbush and Bedichev to ask people to daven for the safety, and they've had to send a lot of the Jews into safe places so that we should all daven for the safety of all the Jews there.
Okay, let everybody come here. We have a big country. We can do it. Just a few days ago, I was outside of Yerushalayim for a few hours, and every time I go out, I see like we have room. We have room. We can make everybody comfortable. Just come. Okay, we were not in the middle of anything, right? We finished your test last week, and now we're starting a brand new parak, which is going to surprise you all. It's a parak that you probably never heard of, and it has many famous things in it. You probably don't say this parak of Tehillim unless you daven Nusach Sfarad and you say the whole siddur from beginning to end, the whole Shachris. We're going to do chapter 25, Chaf Hey. Does everybody go to Chaf Hey? Where's Miriam? She's here. Okay. Chaf Hey 25. Oh, there you are. Okay. Now you still davening. Okay. Just want to make sure you're here. Okay. LeDavid. Now we're going to, again, this is going to be a hard parak. It's going to take a couple of weeks. But it's incredible the power of this parak of Tehillim 25. You wouldn't notice it if you didn't know this. Okay. So now, LeDavid. What does LeDavid mean? So the English translates it as by David or of David. But remember that we have a lot of introductory words to Tehillim. Sometimes we have Mizmor LeDavid, you're familiar with that, like what we sing, Shalosh Shudas, LeDavid Mizmor, Lamanatseach, Mizmor LeDavid. We have all these introductory words. LeDavid, by David, is an unusual introductory word. It means it came to David. This idea came to David, but it also means that David HaMelech dedicated this parak of Tehillim as a prayer that he wants Hashra Shechina. He wants the presence of Hashem. He wants Hashem to come close to him. Meaning, he wants himself to be able to feel the presence of Hashem. He wants the Shechina to come on him. He wants to have Ruach HaKodesh. He wants it to come to David. That's what he's saying. LeDavid means, I want to come to me. Your message, Hashem, your prophecy. LeDavid. Elecha Hashem nafshi esa. To you, Hashem, my soul lifts up. That sounds very poetic. What does it really mean? It means, Hashem, I want you. Because my nefesh is the same as me. When you say nafshi, it means me. So it means, Hashem, I want you. Elecha, to you, I'm aiming for, I'm searching for, I'm holding on to, I'm aspiring to come close to you. This parak of Tehillim, my friends, you say when you need inspiration, when you need Hashem. It's in the Siddur, Nusach Sfard, Nusach Chabad, actually. It's a Nusach of the Ari, and it's a little bit right after Shemona Esrei Shacharis. Every day you say this, except if there's no Tachanun, then you don't say it. Because it's a parak of Tehillim that's very powerful, and it's calling out to God and saying, I want you. I want your clarity. I want your presence. I want your help. Now, interestingly enough, for those of you who, I don't have it near me, for those of you who say Tikkun Chatzos, okay, let's talk a little bit about Tikkun Chatzos. Tikkun Chatzos is a tefillah that we daven to ask Hashem to bring and to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash. When do you say it? It depends. The real time, the old-fashioned schedules of Jews was, you go to sleep when God turns out the lights. Sarala, I just found out that we have a mutual. Your sister is, I saw her the other day. That's your sister?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
She told me that you're her sister. I said, oh, you're in my class in Tehillim.
Wow, lovely. Small
Okay,
world.
sorry, I just saw you once. I just had to, divert and distract myself. Okay, so in Tikkun Chatzos is a tefillah that it used to be that everybody said Tikkun Chatzos. You know that? Everybody, it was like part of the schedule. You went to sleep in the dark. And as soon as it got dark, as soon as God turns off the lights, you went to sleep. And then you woke up in the middle, whenever you woke up in the middle of the night, you woke up before dawn, you woke up 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whenever you woke up, you would say Tikkun Chatzos and ask Hashem to bring Mashiach. That was like that was considered like part of Jewish, like the way that Jewish people lived. In olden days, actually, mothers would get up and wake their little kids up to say Tikkun Chatzos. And sometimes the kids would be kvetchy and crying, and the mother would say, good, good, good. Start to cry to God that he should build a Beis HaMikdash. It became the kind of thing where then only really, really big tzaddikim used to do. Now it's coming back into style. You can say Tikkun Chatzos anytime, whenever you want, you can say it. Best time is in the dark. In other words, in the nighttime, after Chatzos, after midnight, or early in the morning, really, really early in the morning. We're doing chapter 25. I hope it will be thrilling. You wrote Tehillim, but the thing changed it to thrilling. So this first in Tikkun Chatzos, in Tikkun Leah, the second half of Tikkun Chatzos, is a poem that starts with these words also. Nafshi Hashem lecha, lecha Hashem nafshi esa. I want you. I'm searching for you, Hashem. Now, this is one of the Pirkei Tehillim that's in alphabetical order. The Gemara says that David HaMelech, when he wanted to show us his favorite Tehillims, he would write them in alphabetical order. Now, how did he do that if while he was writing it, he hadn't finished writing it yet? So how could it be his favorite Tehillim if he hadn't written it yet? Now he's going to write it in alphabetical order. Whatever. Anything that's in alphabetical order, David Mel says, this is a significant and important one. Now, you all know that Ashrei, what we say every day, that's written in alphabetical order. Tehillim David, right? That's chapter 145. You might not have known that here's a whole bunch of others that are written in alphabetical order. Here's one of them. Now, this one, the only thing is that the Aleph is Elecha Hashem Nafshi Ekra, and the Beis is the second word of the second pasuk, Elokai, God. B'cha batachti, I trust you. Al evosha, so don't let me be embarrassed. In other words, I'm trusting you, and everybody in my life knows that I'm trusting you, and everyone in my life knows that I'm religious, and everybody knows in my life knows that I daven. So make sure that I shouldn't be ashamed, meaning make sure that I get what I need and what I want in the best way possible, so that everyone will see that it pays to trust in God. Al ya'atsu oivai li, let not my enemies gloat over me. Let them not be happy with my downfall. I want not to be embarrassed. I want to trust. I trust you. And I want you to show me that it's kedai, that it pays to trust you. Ladies, we could say this pasuk all day long over and over again. Because when you don't trust God, but you say the word, the trusting psukim, then it helps you to trust God. And you can say with God's name, Elohai bechavatachti, al evosha, al yalsu oivayli. I don't want to be embarrassed by doing something or by having a life that's not perfect. And I don't want my enemies to be happy over me. So I'll tell you a story about this pasuk. It's going to take me a long time to do this parak because every pasuk is pregnant with huge amounts of teaching. One of my students, she's in Gan Eden now. She's probably very high in Gan Eden. Was a big tzaddikus. She belonged to a certain community, a very, very close-knit community. And she was the first young married woman to cover her hair after she got married. And she got such flack from everyone, her parents and her in-laws and maybe not so much her in-laws, but they gave her such a hard time. What are you doing? This is old fashioned. Where do you think you are? You're not you're in America and in New York, and people don't do this anymore. They gave her everything, every argument. They threatened her. They cried, they screamed, they did everything to try to weaken her resolve, and she did not weaken. And she stayed strong and she covered her hair in a beautiful, beautiful way. Not crazy long shaitel to the floor. Beautiful, but appropriate, but beautiful. Anyway, a few years after she was married, she got sick and she had to take treatments. And the treatments made her lose her hair. And so her crying was, what did she cry about? She didn't cry that she lost her hair. She cried because she was terrified that people would say, you see, you were the first one to cover your hair. You went against the community, and now look what happened. That was her concern. Such a tzaddikus. She was concerned for the mitzvah of Kisui Rosh. She wasn't concerned about her youth or her beauty or her anything. She cried because she was afraid people would be angry at God or would say, you see, it doesn't pay to be religious because look what happened to her, the most religious girl, and look what happened to her. So at her shiva, when she passed, what she did, at her shiva, I recounted this story to all. I gave a shiur to all of her friends. She was a student of mine, so all of her friends were my students. And all the girls in the community, the young women in the community, I gave a shiur to them in the middle of the shiva. And I told them this. I said to them, you should know that what was she concerned about? She was concerned about godly matters. She was not a person who she was beautiful and she loved her beauty and she loved being beautiful, etc. She wasn't like, but when push came to shove, her concern was it shouldn't make a chilul Hashem, and she wanted you to cover your hair after marriage. So, and I gave whatever it was, I just quoted her. And one very, very brave young woman, married woman, stood up in front of all of her friends and community, and she said she takes upon herself, she's now going to do the mitzvah of Kisui Rosh. And then her cousin stood up. Also, women who came from families who you cannot imagine what that pressure was, the social pressure. And her cousin stood up and she said she takes upon herself, in the merit and the honor of that neshama who passed away, Rucham Yechevel, she takes upon herself Kisui Rosh to cover her hair. Ladies, that entire community now, they live in Great Neck, New York. Maybe some of you know them. The whole community now is Shomer Mitzvahs. The whole community is Shomer Shabbos, learning Torah, kollels, yeshivas, shuls, tznius, everything, the whole works. Why? Because she davened, a little girl, a sweet little, she said, Hashem, don't let my enemies laugh and say, you see, it doesn't pay to be religious. And she stood strong and she transformed thousands of people single-handedly. And not just that, but generations forever and ever. So this story happened, she passed away 27 years ago, 28 years ago. And now her daughter is a mother of big kids. And those friends who stood up to say to do Kisui Rosh, their kids are already married. They are already grandmothers, these girls. And in the yeshiva down the block from my house in Lev Aron, which is as far the yeshiva, half the yeshiva is from that community. Boys, yeshiva boys, black hats, sitting and learning Torah in Yerushalayim HaKodesh, from a girl who said, this pasuk, Elokai b'cha batachti, I trust you. I don't want to be humiliated. Al ya'alsu oivayli, I don't want my enemies, means people who are against you, and even my own Yetzer Hara, I don't want that to rejoice over me. I want to stay so strong that I succeed, and I'm not doing it, Hashem, for my sake. I want it to be that I'm a walking Kiddush Hashem. I want people to say it's kedai. It pays to be Shomer Mitzvahs because look, she has such a good life. She has such good kids. She has such good grandchildren, etc., etc. Now listen, there's no guarantees for anything in this world. And sometimes big people of the community, sometimes they go through stuff. Whatever it is, we regular people are allowed to say this pasuk and say, Hashem, help me to trust you and to do the right thing, despite the fact that I have so much opposition, whether it's internal opposition, because our enemy could be our own self, or external opposition. I trust you, Hashem. I trust your Torah. I trust you. I trust that every mitzvah is good and is the best for me. And I want to tell you something. That's just one story. I can tell you so many stories of people. I'm privileged to work in that world and to walk in that and to work with people like this. Of people who I can tell you so many stories of people who went against what their and they prayed that their success should be not just personal, but should be a Kiddush Hashem. Hashem, it's terrible when a Jew is not having a perfect life. Don't let my enemies mock me. Now you see why that pasuk has an aleph and a beis in it, because it's in alphabetical order, this parak. And there the aleph and the beis in the beginning of the pasuk, it's a strong pasuk. Learn it by heart and say it all the time. If you can't remember the Hebrew, say the English, say the idea. Now, David HaMelech, he's not a private person. Remember that we learned that he has a neshama of Adam Harishon and Mashiach, the beginning and the end. David HaMelech has the beginning, and he's a neshama that contains the beginning and the end. Adam Harishon, the first man, Mashiach ben David, the final one who's going to fix this world. So when he davens this parak, he's talking about for all of us. So listen to what he says next. Not just me, Hashem, that I shouldn't be embarrassed and that I shouldn't be disappointed. Not just me. Gam kol koivecha. Everybody who hopes to you, Hashem, lo yevoshun. They shouldn't be ashamed. They shouldn't be humiliated. They shouldn't be disappointed. They shouldn't be frustrated. Anybody who hopes to Hashem. Who should be humiliated and disappointed? Yevoshu kol habogdim rekam. Everybody who rebel and who hurt poor people, they're the ones who should lose out. I'm going to share with you something that we already learned yesterday. So for those of you who Baruch Hashem are on the Wednesday shir and the Thursday shir, so you'll hear it twice. You know that right now, no, I'll say it like this. The Zohar Kadosh says that at the end of time, all the past kings of the ancient and biblical times, all of them come back in reincarnations. Why do they get a chance to come back in a reincarnation? So that to get their punishments. And the most famous one of those who actually self-identified was Saddam Hussein, Yemach Shemo. He said about himself that he's Nebuchadnezzar. Where did that come into his head? An Iraqi, what was he, king, prime minister? He was a dictator, but I forgot what his exact title was. He said that about himself. Because he rebuilt. Iraq is such a poor country, and he spent millions, maybe billions of dollars, rebuilding the hanging gardens of Babylon, because Iraq is Bavel, and Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Bavel. And this Saddam Hussein said that he came back as he's Nebuchadnezzar. He actually said that. And remember how they caught him? And remember the Scud war here in Eretz Yisrael, right, in 90? What year was that? When everybody, the whole Eretz Yisrael was hovered, right? I wasn't here. I wasn't privileged to be here yet then. But we used to watch on the TV. I went down to my dad. It was before computers. I used to go down to my downstairs neighbor to watch her TV to see. They had a camera. They had a camera by the Knesset La'ir, by the entrance to the city of Yerushalayim. They had cameras, and you could see that the streets were totally empty for a month and a little bit till Purim. Now, this time of the year, it was mamish this time of the year. Anyway, when they ended up finding him, what did he look like? He looked like mamish an animal. They found him in a sewer, in a sewer, and he was wearing a dirty undershirt, and he was scruffy. He looked like mamish, like a rat. That's what Hashem does. Hashem brings back. Is it Haina or Shana? It must be Shana. Shana Esther Baschana, yeah. Shana Esther Baschana Shavuot Shlema. Thank you to all the sponsors who sponsored the shir. All the sponsors should have, whoever needs, they're sponsoring for Aliyah's Neshama. She needs sponsoring for Aliyah's Neshama for her mother-in-law. And Rebbetzen Zev has also Aliyah's Neshama for a friend of hers father. And this girl should have her for Shlema. Whoever sponsors, and really should, not just the sponsors, everybody, but should have all the geula, the Yeshua that they need and want. So who should be Yevoshu? Let them be ashamed. You know who? The Bogdim, the rebels against Hashem, the rebels against Hashem who are emptying out, who are trying to steal. Rekam means they're merik, they're emptying out, they're stealing, and they rebel against Hashem. They themselves are empty-headed people, but they're powerful. They're the ones who should be ashamed. So we see now what's going on. Ukraine, okay, he's a Jewish guy, the president. I don't know anything about him. Maybe he's not even Jewish. Maybe his father, I don't know if he's Jewish, his father's Jewish, whatever it is. And Putin, none of these people, I can assure you, are in the top 10 in tzaddikim lists. They should all, and the rulers of the world who are just looking and playing with people. Everybody knows that war is such a stupid thing. Because you know what? If you want somebody else's land, then you go to war. Put your life on the line. You, Mr. King, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Whatever, you go to war if you want something. But don't send other people to do your dirty work and you're sitting in a nice office and war is a terrible, terrible thing. So The bad people, they're the ones, says David Melch, they're the ones who should be humiliated and embarrassed and frustrated, and all their plans should come to nothing. And we could daven for that every single day. Hashem, give power to the tzaddikim. Hi, Sharon, it's good to see you. Hashem, give power to the tzaddikim and take away the power from the Rishayim. That's what we should say every single day. Give the power to take away the power from the Rishayim, give it to the tzaddikim emes, the real tzaddikim. We might not even know who those real tzaddikim are, because usually they're not in the news. So we're davening for everybody. Whoever hopes to Hashem, they shouldn't be embarrassed. They shouldn't be disappointed. And who should be disappointed? Those bad guys. That's the beginning of the parak. Now comes David HaMelech asking Hashem. It's like Sur Meira va'asei tov. I want to push away any negative thoughts. And now I want to draw onto me inspiring thoughts, elevating thoughts, powerful thoughts. You heard that food is going to be so powerful because you're listening to a shiur. When you cook and learn at the same time, ladies, the energy of the Torah goes into the food. So do it. I mean, it's good to sit and learn also and take notes. But if you happen to have to be cooking also, right? Who usually makes a challah during the shiur? I forgot. So whatever it is, the energy of Torah learning, even though right now it's crazy that we're all not in the same room physically. We're all over the world right now. But the energy of Torah learning, the energy of Tehillim can go into anything. It goes into the walls of your house. Is there a certain place in your house where you like to daven? You have your makom kavua in your house. You have your chair, your spot where you daven, where you listen to classes, where you listen to shiurim. You know why you might be gravitating towards a certain spot? Because it's full of holiness. Because if that's where you learn all the time, then that's the place that absorbs the walls. Absorb. So now David HaMelech says, now I pushed away the negative thoughts. Now I want to pull onto me inspiration. Derachecha Hashem hodi'eni. Please, Hashem, teach me. Hodi'eni like ladat, yodea. Hashem, teach me your ways. You might say, well, the whole Torah is Hashem taught us already, right? But there's a general, then there's a specific. Everybody here has to make decisions today. Everybody here has things to do today. We want to know what to do specifically. So, Derachecha Hashem hodi'eni. In general, in specifics, teach me, Hashem. Give me a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of divine inspiration, a little bit of guidance. You're allowed to say this with Hashem's name when you need clarity. Or, and even on a higher level, when you want to have guidance spiritually, you want to know, should I make Aliyah? Should I buy an apartment in Israel? Yes. I'll be your prophetess and say, yeah, buy an apartment in Israel. Okay, don't go into Hak, whatever, but yeah. But when you need spiritual direction, should I move to this neighborhood? It's a better shul, but it's further away from the supermarket. Should I put my kids into that school? Should I make that shidduch? Whatever you need, guidance. And the guidance depends on not just practical things, but also depends on a little bit of, it depends on a neshamadika, a soulful decision. This phrase is mentioned in Tehillim several times, the same exact 3 words. Teach me your ways. Make it known to me what I should do. Now, there's a third interpretation of that. Maybe this is and each one you use at a different time. When we say Hashem, make me know your ways, it also could mean make me understand why you did what you did in my life. Your ways of guiding my life. When you did this, when you did that, that was you, Hashem. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a decision that I made. It was you. I was involved in it, but it was you. Teach me your ways. Tell me why you did that. Why did you make me go on that path instead of on this path? The same thing is repeated now. Orchosecha lamdeni. Orchosecha means your pathway to go. Lamdeni means to teach me. Same three meforshim. Teach me how to, tell me what to do. I have a practical idea, a practical question. Teach me how to be in ruchnius and spiritually, what path I should go to spiritually, and explain to me, teach me why is it that I'm in this place in my life. If you're an air sign, means if you have a lot of air in you, you're always in your head. This is a very, very important pasuk because you're always asking and wondering, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why did I make this decision? Why did I make that decision? Karen, you're also cooking? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good, good, good. Let all the energy go into your food. All the Torah goes into your food. The Chovos HaLevavos teaches us in the Shara B'Tachon something that's very shocking. He says that, but we know it, but he says we're allowed to ask Hashem this pasuk because really everything that happens to us in life is a lesson. Whatever happens is a lesson. So, but we want to learn the lesson. We want to know, like, to the extent that we can. Not always can we learn and understand everything, because a lot of stuff is from past lives, is in Shama work, whatever. But whatever it is that I could understand, Hashem, show me. Show me how you've been protecting me all these years. Show me I didn't do this, and it was the smartest thing. I did that, it was the smartest thing. Show me how to live. Show me how to have good midos, because we're supposed to follow Hashem's ways. So teach me how to love my fellow Jew. Teach me how to be a balance of caring for myself and yet caring for everyone else. And tell me what to do when that seems to be a conflict. It's either me or them. Who should I pick? Show me, Hashem, what midos I should have, how I should behave in terms of character traits. Now, remember, we learned a long time ago that whenever David HaMelech wants to emphasize something, he repeats it in Tehillim. This is an important. It's an important rule that everyone who learns Tehillim and everyone who says Tehillim must have paid attention to. Many times in Tehillim, the pasuk, the psukim, are two phrases, and one phrase is the second phrase is a repetition in different words of the first phrase. You have that a lot. Why does David Melch do that? So if you were a secular English literature teacher, you would say that that's called poetic license. We don't learn Tehillim like that. We learn Tehillim as the words of the prophets, the words of Mashiach Tzidkenu. And so what does David Melch repeat? So remember, we learned it. Number one, to emphasize. He wants us to pay attention to this. It's very important. When he repeats, it's like saying the word Selah. The word Selah, which David Melch is it only appears in Tehillim and one other time in the Navi. It's a word that he made up, and it means emphasis. It's like underlining something with a highlighter, highlighting and underlining, capitalizing. Remember when we all first learned how to do computers, and we would sometimes by accident send an email with all capitals? Yeah, and now we know that means I'm screaming at you. It means I'm saying it forcefully. But in those days, I remember I sent somebody an email, and I guess I capitalized everything. I didn't pay attention, and they sent back a thing. Why are you yelling at me? I was like, what? What in the world are you talking about? I didn't even talk to you. I'm just sending you an email. What am I yelling at you? So I sent back, what do you mean? It was one of my students. I remember who it was. I think it was a student of mine, and she was just joking. She said, "When you write in capitals, it sounds like you're yelling." So David Melech can't write in capitals for us because we don't have many times, Esther. What I said is that the word Sela is only used in the book of Tehillim, and in one other time in one of the places in one of the Nevi'im, one of the prophets, but only in Tehillim. And he made up that word. It's like underlining. So whenever you have a Sela, you say it's strong. In other words, the words that precede the word Sela, you say it's strong. And so sometimes David Melch uses a different tool, and that is he'll just repeat a word, repeat a phrase, rephrase it, because it's strong, it's important. That's number one. Number two, and you see this the most in Parakuf Chaf Aleph and Tehillim, which we learned that Shir Lamalas Esa'ena. You see that when David HaMelech knows that to integrate this teaching is hard for us, that to internalize this teaching is hard for us, when he knows it's going to be hard to mamish make this part of us, he repeats it as if to give us encouragement. Like, you could do this. Come on. It's like exercise. Now, another push-up, another sit-up, walk another 2 blocks. Teach me your ways, Hashem. Teach me your path. And he repeats, Hadricheni, next pasuk, hey, the pasuk with hey. Hadricheni, be a madrich, guide me. The word derech, you see how the word derech is in the first word in pasuk Dalet and the first word in pasuk hey. Derech means a path. Derech Hashem, the famous book of the Ramchal, the path of God, the path to God. So Hadricheni b'mitzecha. So teach me, Hashem, your truth. V'lamdeni, again and again, teach me more, teach me more. Why? Ki ata Elokei ishi, because you, Hashem, are my God. And you're the only one who can help me. You're the only one who can help me, Hashem. Not this person, not that person. They're all shlichim. They're all shluchim. Only you. That's why I'm saying to you, you teach me. I'm not saying send me a good teacher. You teach me, Hashem. Okay, if you might send me a good teacher, but really it's you. Otcha kiviti kol hayom, and for you and in you is where I should place my hope all day long. All day long means all the time. So you see these psukim, you repeat them again and again and again. When you feel that you need guidance, when you feel that you need help. I hope that your Tehillims are all marked up already with folded down pages and underlining and writing in it so you can. And by the way, in the Tehillim, in the beginning of the Tehillim, or wherever you're writing your notes, remind yourself. I say this to them every day because it's in my siddur. Remind yourself, if I need help, go to the Tehillim page, parak 25, Chafei, and say these psukim. Hadricheni ba'mitzecha v'lamdeni, please Hashem, guide me to only live truth, and teach me. Sometimes it means teach me how to live in a truthful way, that I can include everybody else in my life in that truthful way. Because to live in a truthful way is such a blessing. There was a very famous story that the Baal Shem Tov said over. And the story was that the town thief came to him and said he wanted to do teshuvah. In olden days, it seems, or maybe just in the stories, there was always a town drunk and a town thief. In all the Baal Shem Tov stories, the town drunk and the town thief. It's like they had a mayor, a treasurer, a town thief. I don't know if they elected these people or they just like got a Masorah. Anyway, the town thief, who was very skilled, he came to the Baal Shem Tov and he said he wants to do tshuva. But he doesn't know how, because everything he ever stole, he already spent. He spent the money. It's not like he can return. If a person steals, they have to return what they stole. But he can't, he says, because everything that he stole, he already sold it and spent the money and doesn't remember who he stole from and what should he do? So the Baal Shem Tov said to him, one thing I'll tell you to do, for the past, we'll have to figure out what to do for the past, but for the future, you still have a big taiva to steal, right? You still have the big desire to steal. So he said to him, I'll tell you how to cure your desire from stealing. Make a neder, an oath that you're never going to say a lie. You're never going to say a lie. You will never say something that's not true. Take an oath that you'll never say a lie. I don't know if he said take an oath because that's a scary thing. We're not supposed to take oaths, but he basically said, take upon yourself that you'll never lie. And so the thief said, that's all right, but that's gonna help me. He said, yeah, it's gonna protect you. So he said, okay, he took upon himself never to lie. And sure enough, the next time he had a desire to steal, he woke up in the middle of the night. He went and he saw next door. The guy left his door unlocked. That's a pretty stupid thing to do when the town thief lives next door to you. But whatever it is, he walked into the guy's house. He was just about to take his wallet off of the table, and then he thought to himself, "What if they ask me? They all know I'm the town thief. What if they ask me if I stole? I'm not allowed to lie. I'm gonna have to say yes. They're gonna throw me in jail." So he put the wallet down and he walked out. And that kept happening to him over and over again. Like he had these amazing opportunities to steal. But in his head, his promise not to lie was so strong that he was afraid that what happens if they ask him if he stole, and he's going to have to say yes, he stole because he can't lie. So the Baal Shem HaKadosh, in that story, the Baal Shem HaKadosh figured out a way to get this guy back on the path of truth. Now, in the category of truth, there's different kinds of subcategories. Stealing is a category of lack of truth. Because what does stealing mean? Stealing means the truth is that article belongs to you. It has your signature on it. It has your stamp of your soul on it. That's what property, and property is energetically connected to the owner, which really means that you can never really steal anything. You can use someone else's, but you can't ever, it's not you, it'll never become yours. So stealing is the opposite of truth. So the Baal Shem HaKadosh couldn't say to him, don't steal, because he has a taiva. He has a desire. He has a yetzer hara to steal. So in the story, the Baal Shem HaKadosh went into the same category, and he just picked a different topic within that same category, and said, if you're makpid, if you're careful not to lie, it'll help you with the yetzer hara not to steal. And you know what? It's a very good. It's a good thing to. It's a very good thing. Let's say, for example, a person has a problem with eating. I'm born in the month of Shvat, and the month of Shvat, the Hebrew month of Shvat, is the Tikkun Achila. It's the fixing of eating. It's eating properly. So I didn't know this but I was always interested in nutrition and nutritional healing and v'chule. So let's say a person has a problem with eating. They eat too much. So, but they're really, really observant in halacha, and they know the halacha that you're not supposed to. You're supposed to take care of your body, but they just can't because they have a big time to eat. So you can perhaps think to yourself, maybe you could use the halacha of the Rambam. The Rambam says, before you eat a meal, I don't mean like eating a snack, but before you eat a meal or something significant, sometimes a snack could be. Sometimes what one person calls a snack is another person's meal. So if you're eating a snack, before you eat something significant, say to yourself, speak to your stomach or speak to your body and say, are you in need of refueling? Are you hungry? Because the Rambam says that we're not supposed to eat unless we're hungry. That's why, by the way, children, they know this in their bones. When kids don't want to eat and parents try to force them to eat, it's so silly. Kids know when their body needs to eat, and they know when to stop when their body tells them to stop. And they know, and unless we mess them up and give them sweets in the very beginning of their life, they know what's good for them to eat. Kids, the body of a child talks to it. And so it might sometimes be helpful. It might be helpful to just say, I'd like to fulfill the halachas of the Rambam. And the Rambam says I shouldn't eat unless I'm hungry or weak or I need to, right? Something I need to eat. Another thing you can ask your body is, if after you eat something, do you feel tired? Or do you feel regular, like parav? Or do you feel energized? Tired or energized are both the wrong feeling to have after food, believe it or not. Energized means you just upped your sugar levels. It means they're going to plunge soon. You're going to be knocked off soon. Tired means you've just eaten something that your body says, oh my gosh, what did you put into me? I need so much energy now to digest this. You better just sit down and relax. That's what tired means. And neutral, when you eat something, when you eat a meal and you just feel okay, you don't feel exhausted, you don't feel hyper. That's you've just eaten correctly. So you might want to ask yourself questions, talk to yourself when the food comes. You might want to say to yourself, please Hashem, Dirachecha Hashem Hodieni, that they bring out dessert. And it's like this absolutely absurd whipped cream, chocolate cream, 10 layers, sugar and margarine confection. And just say, teach me, Hashem, teach me how to overcome this. Because every Jewish woman should be beautiful and should be a walking healthy and should be radiant and should be all of those things. Because we want that when we walk in the street, people should say, there you go. I once walked into a health food store in America years and years ago. And there was a lady there, and she had long, white, platinum white hair. White hair, but not old age white hair. Thick, long, white, and it was natural. It was like silvery white. And she looked like she was nowadays, I'll say that 60 is the new, 20, right? But in those days when I was 20 or 30 and she was 60, and she had skin like I never saw. And so I said, and she was the proprietress of this health food store. And I said to her, you are the biggest advertisement for whatever you're selling here. You are a walking advertisement. Because she was an older lady with wisdom, but her hair was thick and her skin was smooth and radiant. And so Hashem, we have to look good, but we have to look good not for our own looking good. We have to look good for Hashem's sake so that the enemies shouldn't say, there she is, a shmata. If that's a frum Haredi lady, look what she looks like. And who should we be looking and making jokes about? Now, listen, of course, the looks don't matter. It's not, but in this world, it's a certain level of there is something to it. Everybody has to know how to manage, how to balance their derech, their way, and ask Hashem this possible. Okay, what I want to do now, and believe that I want to try to do this every time we learn, is whatever psukim we just learned, I want to now, let's say them. I'm going to say them. You can repeat with me. So we'll do the first 5 psukim. Okay, because we just learned them. Rabbi Nachman says, whatever you learn, you have to make Torah into tefillah and tefillah into Torah. It means whatever you learn, you should try to pray about, that Hashem should help you to actualize. And whatever you pray about, you should learn the halachas of. You should turn one into the other. So I'll say these psukim. If you have a Tehillim, you could say it with me. If you don't, so I'll try to say the word slowly so you can repeat. You don't have to put yourselves on, you could if you want. It's always nice, but you don't have to. Okay, here goes. Perchav hey, pasukam. David, Elecha Adonai nafshi esa, Elohai becha vatachti, al evosha, al yalsu oivai Gam kol korvecha lo yevoshu, yevoshu habok dimrekam. Yerchecha Adonai hodieni, or chosecha lamdeni. Adricheni v'amitecha, v'lamdeni. Ki ata Elohei ishi, oscha kivisi kol hayom. And the next pasuk is a song. You'll see that we skipped the letter Vav. All right, my sweeties. Let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Paula. Hi, Pauline. You're on my screens right next to each other, friends. Hi, Karen. You're also in the kitchen. And Sharon. And Marcel. It's good to see you. And hi, Sima Devora. All the way from the south of Israel near our nuclear bombs. And hi, Rebbetzen Ruthie. And hi, Miriam. And hi, Shoshana Kaplan. And Rochel Rogoff. And hi, Nomi. You're also in your kitchen, I noticed. And hi, Dahlia, doing carpool. And Sarala, also doing carpool. Or shopping for Shabbos. And hi, Judith Goldberg and Mimi. And hi, Rosalind. It's good to see you. I love when you put your faces on. And hi, Yehudit Beit Shemesh and Golda. And hi, there was another Beit Shemesh person on before. Oh, she popped off. Who was that? Who was Shoshana? Was, I think, gone. Beit Shemesh. And hi, Mrs. Morris. And hi, Tippi. Thank you for everything you do for us. And hi, Devorah Danziger. And Janice. And thank you, Nomi. And hi, Sheila. Oh, 1 second. Where'd you go? Don't pop off the screen. Let me I say hi to you. And Dvorhinda. Oh, there you are. Dvorhinda's here. Oh, that's right. Dvorhinda. That's your name. I'm sorry. And hi, whoever's on the phone. And MK. We have an MK on. That means that you are a member of the government. And hi, Rosalind. Thank you, Dvorhinda. And hi, Galaxy Tab 8, whoever that is. Oh, we have 2 Danzingers on. And hi again, Janice. And there's Shoshana Biliak. Okay. And hi, Esther. Hi, Esther. And did I say hi to Judith and to Mimi? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Before you go, I just want to tell everybody, Dimona has a lot of space and a lot of empty apartments. And I also want to tell you that my grandson is here for lunch and he's having a big salad for lunch. That's what he likes.
Oh, kala kavod to you, Bubby. Giving your grandson a good, nice big salad.
Oh.
Little boys need some, also they're going to probably need some more food in that salad, but kala kavod, very good. Okay, everybody.
Okay, thank
Have a
you,
wonderful, wonderful Shabbos.